Everyone is welcome here, it's time to make new friends. Aquavide Uskava, fill your Glencairn. Share a dram with the spirit of Edmonton. Slancha!
I guess, was this not on the whole time? So I've been talking the whole time and not? We're starting all over again. I was muted. If I wasn't muted, you're going to hear the whole thing all over again. So, Slancha, hello. And good evening, whiskey brothers, sisters, and friends, and welcome to episode 107 of the Canadian Whisky Journey's Whiskey Review. I'm Dolph. I've said this so many times. I'm Dolph. I'm the creator of the Canadian Whisky Journey, the spirit of Edmonton on social media platforms, and I'll be your host tonight. So I'm continuing my Canadian Whisky Journey with this bottle. We already saw it. So it's Maligne Range's The Watchtower. It is a tri-malt peated Canadian whiskey. This is, and I'm going to do it all over again, a very convoluted way of telling you that it's a very Albertan creation. So, Maligne Range Restaurant, which is found on the main drive in Jasper, Connaught Drive, is a restaurant, a bar, a tasting room that you have to go to. It's beautiful. Go there for the whiskey and the food and the ambiance. It's got it all. So go there. And then hopefully you get this whiskey at the same time. If not, pick one of the other many whiskeys. But the owner of this is called Brett Ireland. So Brett Ireland of Bear Hill Brewing Company is also the owner of Last Best Brewing and Distilling in Calgary. He's also the owner of the closed Wood Buffalo Brewery and Distillery in Fort Mac. Now, it's not just Brett's connection to these three places that make it so Albertan, but also his link to master distiller, his master distiller, Bryce Parsons. Now, he was his master distiller. Bryce Parsons was also the overseer of distilling operations with Bear Hill. He is now the owner of True Isle Distilling in Calgary, and he's also the president of the Alberta Craft Distillers Association. It's with Brett's original vision and with Bryce's know-how that we get this whiskey right now. Now, I still said this a lot, but I'm saying it again. The mash bill was Bryce's and Bear Hill's first mash bill ever created, which makes this quite unique and very, very close to Bryce's heart. Now, the tri-malt mash bill is made up of 70% Alberta malt, being Pils and Munich malt. The remaining 30% is heavily peated malt from Baird's in Scotland. Now, there's an interesting side note to this, because of this mash bill, and because they brought in Baird's heavily peated malt from Scotland, they inadvertently created the Beast. If you're from Alberta, you've heard of the Beast in the past. So what happened was they had a pallet of their Baird's heavily peated malt outside, not inside, because they didn't want to taint the other malts. So what happens? We know in 2016 there's a forest fire in Fort Mac. That fire infuses the smoke into this peated malt. So now we have a double smoked malt that they used entirely for the Beast. So the unicorn whiskey we know as the Beast was the creation of this malt throughout the forest fires. So we have that connection, but we're not done with the Alberta connections. So the whiskey was brewed and distilled, this one, originally in Fort Mac, but then other renditions that went into other barrels were done at Last Best in Calgary. They went into 8 barrels in all. The 8 barrels were first fill bourbon, and they were virgin American oak. They were 6 to 9 years old, and they were aged and blended at Lone Star Distillery here in Edmonton. So that's a lot of traveling. It's gone all over the place, but this is an Albertan malt. So let's get, finally, to the tasting notes. Okay. Now, I tried this last night. Same thing. Worked with it for a while. Probably the same size of a pour over probably an hour and a half last night. So the nose, and I'm agreeing with myself from last night, was pear and possibly green apple. And it kind of goes back and forth, and over time it changes. As my hand heats up the glass, it does change slightly. The sweetness, which is generally the first thing I go for, I thought would have been caramel-like, but it wasn't. It was confectioner sugar, very fruity rockets-like, and I've talked about rockets before, so that's what it was like initially. What's always present, even through the hour and a half that I was nosing this, was the freshness to it. Now, the freshness started citrusy, but over time became a little bit different. It still stayed effervescent, still stayed fresh, but it changed to maybe something a bit more herbal. So fresh cut grass, fresh hay, I don't know, something like weeds, herbs maybe came into play there. But regardless, fresh. And then, knowing about the peat, I was looking for the smoke, but the smoke didn't come up initially. It just blended so well with everything that it was almost indecipherable. Just a little bit at the beginning, and the longer you nosed it, the more the wood disappeared. So it's blended so well and complements each other, these flavors, that it almost indecipherable until you go to the palate. And that's what we're going to do now. So let's open it up first. All right. It's awakened. It's ready. Let's go. Yeah. And just like last night, I had to correct myself because I was thinking the sweetness was originally confectioner sugar, but it's caramel. It's caramelly on the palate. So it's fruity and caramelly all together. And the smoke comes out now like I expected it to on the nose. So still melding all initial. I can't say the sweetness and the fruit come first or the smoke. It just seems to all be a perfect little package coming together in an initial first wave. The other thing that I thought, which was quite unique for this last night, is it's not especially like Bowmore, but the feeling I had when drinking this last night was like a Bowmore. So both of them you want to get to know really well. So when you're having it, you're sipping it, you're nosing it, you're tasting it over a period of time, and you're looking for the eccentricities in the flavor. And that's what I was doing with this. And it was a great experience. Now again, it doesn't taste like Bowmore. It's great in its own right. But what I wanted to do was get to know it better because of the initial flavors and how everything was so well intertwined. So it made it a great experience, is what I gotta say, and something that you should do. Yeah, the fruity esters just blend so well with the smoke. You just want to keep nosing it and trying to get more out of it. Let's go to the finish. All right. So it's a medium length. And I'm going to say that the caramel and fruit's first. The smoke kind of, well, caramel fruit, and then the smoke kind of just takes off a little bit. And when I talk about the smoke, I'm also talking about a spiciness in the wood that comes out afterwards. And it ends with not the spiciness, but the heathery, woodsy smoke flavor. Yeah. Sweet fruit, a little spiciness, but it's a wood spiciness that ends with heathery wood. And now, 30 seconds later, it's like it's leather from an old baseball glove. That's enjoyable. That's good. All right, friends. It's been fantastic. Thank you for sticking around through the muted part of my presentation, and hopefully I see you soon. So pick this up, $120. It's well worth it. And Whiskey Drop might have it. If they don't have it, go to your whiskey store, and if they don't have it, ask them why. Tell them to get it. Well worth your time. Thank you all. Have a fantastic night. Cheers and sláinte.